Hello, this is Santiago Zapata, and this is my series of live coding video games. Today we continue with OpenArthurianX6, and I know there's a lot of artifacts in the background for some weird reason. But anyways, the important part is the code. So today we continue working on OpenArthurian and the world model. Um, yeah, so last live stream was a bit accidental, and I did not end up doing a lot. But uh, what we're doing is splitting the world into chunks and loading them one by one. And what we have so far is the game runs, but we are put on a blank map. Actually, what I believe is happening is the maps are being loaded at a position like away from the player, and you'll see in a bit what I mean. So we serve the build directory, and also let me share this with someone. Uh, yeah, I always forget to share about the live streams, and actually I believe I got some plans for this live coding series. Probably have some schedule, like with some given at a fixed time. Um, and it will not always be Open Arthurian. It will change. It will be different depending on the game I'm working on at the time. And of course, this is about hobby gaming or my own projects, not stuff I do for clients because I cannot share that. Anyways, let's go into the game. So this is how it's currently looking. And we see here that we are in the darkness. So I believe what's actually happening is the player sprite is put here, and you can see I cannot walk there. So definitively the logic aspects of the game are loading correctly. Like the solid mask is under effect there to prevent the player from walking everywhere. So yeah, that's the missing part is locating the maps correctly. And then here's the thing. So we're using phasers built-in support, phaser 2. I don't know about phaser 3 in this regard, but we are using phaser 2 built-in support for tiled, and we have this function create layer if it exists, and we are using map. So this map object is created using the object creator from phaser. And we add the tileset images, and it has these functions to create layers. And what this actually does is creating, I don't know what it does, but I believe what it does is creating sprites for each tile and handle that. But the problem is the position of this layer um, seems to be at the origin of the coordinates system, and that won't work for us. We need it to be at a given position based on where the chunk is located in the world. So let's take a look at the documentation for phaser 2 at tileset image, or sorry, at tilemap. So phaser 2, um, phaser 2 tiled load map, something like that. It's probably going to land us. Load tilemap JSON phaser.tilemap. So we got this. Um, we got this. We're still on phaser 2, and we should have the create layer function somewhere here. Here it is, create layer, creates a new tilemap layer object. By default, tilemap layers are fixed to the camera. I don't think ours is. The layer parameter is important. If you create your mapping tile, then you can get this by looking, okay? Or you can open the JSON file. Layer with I group. optional group to add the object to. If not specified, it will be added to the world group, and we are adding that to the given group. That's like the layer or the group of sprites where we are representing the world. So in here, there's no way to specify the position of that tilemap layer object. Maybe it's a property here that we can set. It has X, Y, and Z. So yeah, it's just a game object. Let's try doing something. So when we load the tile map, we need the X and Y, the chunk X and chunk Y, which is the location of this fragment of the map into the world. That's not here. We need that to get to here, and we see that we have two parts. So create chunk has the map X and Y. Let's send that as well. Let's send the entire map data to the load tile map function. That includes map the X and the Y. Just a reminder that's here. So from the scenario object we have for each map, this is the map data. It includes the file name, the X and Y, and a descriptive name that is currently unused. So we are going to send that to this function, and in here, this is currently probably not working fine. The loading of the tile map, it's sending the entire chunk. This is untested, yeah, because this function currently takes on a single parameter, and we are adding a new one. So yeah, this is not working. So we're going to modify the load tile map function to take the map data. Another thing that I was going to say is that right after we finish uh, this task of the chunks and it's stable, I think it makes sense to move to TypeScript. So we're going to do the transition to TypeScript. It's a need because because of the way that the project or this code is going to be used, there's going to be people uh, extending it, trying to figure out how it works. And yeah, vanilla JavaScript it's not good for this size of a project, I believe. Anyways, that's something that will come later. Let's do this. So we create the layer. Let's see where we're using this layer. Here's where we create the layer. So maybe that's a good part to assign the X and Y. Let's just try that. Layer.x and layer.y. Layer.x, it's going to be map data, which we already have from here, .x times the chunk size. And the chunk size, I don't know if we have it here. Don't think we have it here. And that's not part of the map data because it's more of a configuration of the entire world. Wondering what's the best way to keep it here. Okay, so we have the world here. And I also noticed that in this call we were sending, well, the chunk, not the world. Let's also send the world where we are loading this chunk as a third parameter to the load tile map. So we have the world as well. And the world has the chunk size. I believe not chunk size, yeah. So we can use world.chunk size for this and then also for the y. And I'm curious about something, and it is the location of the beings, because this would fit the terrain, but the beings, the x and the y that is assigned to each one, yeah, which will also modify that by the chunk x and chunk y. Uh, but I don't see where we are. Oh, so probably inside here, process tiled object. It just creates an object. I want, okay, so this one doesn't actually create the mobs. This just returns an object we can use to create the mobs and an object we're using to create the mobs. Um, so in here, load mob, this is where we gotta set the position of the sprite. Oh, that's going to bring some issues. No, not really. No, it's fine. We need to set the position of the sprite. No, actually, it's not that bad. This mob data.x and mob data.y should be accounted for the chunk where this mob exists. But let's go one step at a time. Let's see if it now loads the terrains at least. Oh, it got stuck on an infinite cycle for some reason. Okay, that's not good. Why? We did not do like anything that, well, we definitively did something that caused that. That is why it's important to do only one change at a time. Right now we got a huge diff, but it's because we're doing this huge refactor. So we gotta manually remember what we did, and all we did was set the x and the y of the this. So it's weird that it would cause that. Let's comment this out. The other thing that we did was adding these two parameters to load the tile map. Map ID, map data, and world. But that should not cause an infinite loop. And restore chunk. Are we using restore chunk? Real console.log. We should not be using restore chunk. So let's see. Build again. So two things happened here. I'm not sure if we were getting that trigger at the first time. We are still not getting the maps, but that's because we rolled back the changes. And the restart chunk function is not being called, so we're fine on that aspect. So there's something weird happening when we assigned the x and y to the layer. And that's pretty weird. Let's double check, triple check that. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense, but if that's what is happening, then that's what it is. Yeah, okay. I wonder why. Maybe there's a check somewhere with the terrain layer. The x and the y of the layer. Resize world. Beats me. So we're going to need to debug this because, yeah, let's debug this. Let's use the debug tools. Reconnect to the dev tools. Gonna zoom it a little bit and let's see what's going on. So we are going to put a breakpoint in here. Let's put a breakpoint here. And let's, did I beat already? Yeah, it should be fine. So loading chunk 2.0, one time, two times, no, we're already stuck. So three C's, huh. So let's check the, I'm going to move myself a little bit. Ooh, here I go. Going to see the stack trace. So get chunk is calling create chunk. Let's step again. So it's like the chunk is not being saved in the chunks map. So that is why we are having to create it every time, because we call get chunk here versus stack trace here. We call get chunk, or where's the call stack? Create chunk, get chunk. So it's returning undefined. That's the problem. Create chunk is returning undefined. Huh. What is create chunk returning? Ever returning? It's like stuck on that cycle. It seems that this is about to work, but then our character is now like on a real map, and then that's where problems are happening. What happened with the dev tools? I need the dev tools. Um, oops. So we're loading the map, and inside this, we should not, I mean, this function should actually not be doing anything to do with phaser, not even creating the mobs or anything like that. This just should just return this. So I don't understand why it's calling the problem is that this is calling the FOB function, and the FOB function is trying uh, to call the get chunk, but the chunk is still not saved. So if we see again the call stack, new game is calling update FOB, but that this should happen after the world is set up. World loader that open world. Update FOB, shooting the array is opaque, get from chunk, get chunk. So why we're never getting here? That's a problem. It's like the create chunk function is the one that is but I don't see like any. I mean, the call stack is pretty shallow. That's a problem I see here. It's not like we have a pretty deep called stack. It's super shallow, so it's not like a problem with the function calling each other. It's just that it's not being saved, but I don't understand why we are not getting out of the function. We are never getting here and never returning. We're stuck there. Um, and that makes no sense. We're stuck in this loop. Okay, out of memory. Great. Why are we stuck in this loop? Is C is 0? C is still 0. C Z is not advancing. Let's step to this. So what are we setting to? Okay, so 64 layer. Oh, again. Layer, tile map layer. C is 7. Why? I don't know. And X and Y are not set because there's a position. Oh, but I believe X and Y set this position. So, okay. And then max tile layers per floor is 10. Are we getting here at least? We are never getting to this. This makes no sense at all. Oh, okay, so there's an exception there. Cannot set properties of undefined. Why wasn't it bubbling up? I mean that this is the problem. There's an exception here, but it's being caught by who? I don't have a try anywhere. This is very weird. I mean, I will have expected the error to just show up, but it's like being auto ignored. I don't understand why. This is super weird. What context are we on? That doesn't make sense at all. I mean, the problem is that these layers are not being created always. So there's an exception happening here with the layer being undefined, and then this for loop stays forever. I is 4, I is 1. So weird. I don't know, but let's fix that. So let's just put a check here. If there's a layer, then we do it. If there's no layer, because we did not create it, and here it's pretty clear that it will not always create a layer, only if it exists. Maybe it's because we're calling this function that is in line. I don't know, but it's super weird. In any case, that should fix that part. Let's rebuild and check again. Let's remove these breakpoints, or deactivate them at least, and let's refresh. It always gets a bit crazy when you have like problems like that. So I'm going to refresh again, and okay, so they were reactivated. Just disabling them here. it went through, and I'm still still not clear to me what happened there. But here we are. So it went through, but we're still not good. Um, yeah. So that's the other thing. I also consider that maybe the FOB mask is being placed in top of this, and we don't have still a logic, an update logic to handle the FOB mask. So I'm also going to disable the FOB mask. Probably already disabled. Let's see, FOB layer mask. Fog layer is a different thing. FOB block layer also is already disabled. So yeah, I had already considered that maybe an issue. All right, so that's not it. Let's just check if we are indeed setting the X and Y sometime. Let's see. Yes, we are. So layer.x is 0, layer.y is 0. Map data.x is 2, and this is 0, so we set it to 128. Okay, there's something else. We gotta multiply by the tile size. Yeah, because this position in the world is pixels, not cells. So it's like a conversion between the world model and the logic world model and the visual scene. Anyways, yeah, it's what we gotta do there is, in addition to this, we need the chunk size in pixels. So that's this times the tile height and width. Config. Oh, okay, we don't have that here. Ah, crap. Are we storing that tile size somewhere? Because probably we need that um, tile width and height. We probably need that for some animations or stuff. Here's in the JSON files. Map.tile width. Oh, so it's already here. What is map? Map is the okay. Oh, great. Okay. Map is here. Okay, great. So we can use map dot tile width and map dot tile height. That's good because we're using data directly from the tiled map, not like manually having some config data or anything. All right, retry, retry. Good because we need to have something similar for the maps. So it's good that we see it here. And remove this breakpoint. Still not working. Let's put it back again. Oh, what? Okay. So now X should be set to something much larger. Yeah, and still not working. All right. Okay. So let's think again about the mobs again. Yeah, that's probably something that we need to consider now too. When the player sprite is being created, we also need to translate it to this. And we're probably already using tile width and height for that right here. When we create the objects, I don't care about the objects right now. I care about the mobs. All right. Hmm. The stairs are going to be also challenging. Where are we loading the mobs? Probably we got something hard-coded there. Let's check the mob factory. Build mob at A, X, Y, and Z. And then where are we using this? When we create it, we set this. Where are we creating the sprite for the mob? Where are we creating the sprite? Hit this get sprite from mob. Okay, so it's hard coded here as I thought it would. The 16 is hard coded here. Let's check and see what are we getting here. What's up breakpoint here? And we have the mob. What mob is this? This is the avatar. And we're getting these three constants x, y, and z 0, 0, and 0. We probably relocate it afterwards because when we build the player, new game, build the player, then somewhere, I believe here in open world, is where we're relocating them. Open world, relocate the player and the party. So let's check the relocate function. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here and let's continue. This is no longer, oh no, let's remove this from here. Relocate is not being called. Relocate, open world, and this, what is this? This dot the player building. This dot def, no, mob def mission. This is the avatar, and he is being relocated to this position. So it should be fine. I mean, it's not fine that it's hard coded here. We gotta fix that. But the sprite is placed on 2700 600 something. What's going on? All right. So many things that may be going bad here. But one of the questions I have is, where is Shamino? I mean, that may help us understand because relocate is only being called once. Okay. And let's also fix this. So build mob, get sprite for mob. In so the player when he is created is misplaced because we don't have a way to know where he is. But the other NPCs should be a different story. So here we have again. This should be the player, or not. Oh, 1 second. This is the player, and this is at x0, right? But Chamino here, this is Chamino, and x is 43, y is 35. This is where we should be adding the chunk. Um, the chunk. Because that's not really where he is, you know. But that's prior to this, prior to this. So let's check um, the call stack, building a mob at a position. This is inside the, where is this? This is probably the, no, this is the mob factory. In here, we should already have the correct world position. Build NPC, the same. Load mob, load mob, mob data.x and mob data.y. This should already be translated to the correct positions. Anonymous function in the create chunk. So here is where we need to correct that. Mob data comes from mobs data that comes from tilemap.mobs, and load tilemap should take care of that. So that was a long journey back here. When the mobs are created, we need here to set to correct the x and y coordinates. So let's go and do that. So map.x, we're going to add to this something, and also to map.y. What we're going to add, we're adding the offset of the chunk, and that is chunk map data. Okay, map data. No, not really. Yeah, map data dot x times chunk size, and in this case we don't multiply by the tile width because this is on the logic uh, space. That should place Shamino a bit to the north where we start, and then at least we will not be that alone. The relocation of the player, still alone, still all alone here. I'm going to do something. I'm going to try changing the starting state, so we start at 0.0, just to see, just to debug stuff. At least some grass at least, and we are pot like in the, we should not be able to cross this. Okay, well, so that's progress. That's progress. So maybe the starting location is the problem. But I don't know why. I mean, this should be correct. It also seems that, okay, so x1 is fine. I'm going to gradually change stuff here. 232. But it's like in the middle of that map. Let's try walking. Let's try the transition to the other map. Okay, so it's, what happened? Did something happen there? No, it didn't. Let's try walking and seeing if the other map is loaded. It's not loaded. All right. not loaded. Well, I don't know if it was loaded. Maybe the visual layer of it was not loaded. Um, but the physical part was. Let's try walking. Yeah, there's a mask there. You know, I cannot walk there. So something is being loaded. Just not the visual part. So maybe the problem is that the setting of the position uh, of the layer is not working. Let's spot another breakpoint here, and let's try that navigation again. So this is called once, and in theory this won't do a lot because map data.x should be 0 and 0. And this is only happening. No, this happens how many times? I don't know. Let's see. This is probably also being called. Let's confirm that. Mm, it was called now because the FOB routine is now reaching into the other map. So that's good. But the problem is this is not doing anything. Changing the X attribute of this game object is not changing what it is. And I'm going to try to do something here. I cannot manipulate it on this level. I probably need to revive that old function we have to debug the scene, the phaser scene, and see what's happening there. I forgot what it was. Maybe we can try to find it. It was like I don't know, display phaser game object hierarchy. Maybe it was something a bit hackish, and I don't remember if there's something better, but I don't see it now. Oh crap! No, it's not this. It was like a GitHub gist. Um, I need to find it. Debug phaser free. Phaser debug. Was this it? Phaser plugin scene graph. Yeah, it was something like this. Scene graph. And it could be used like this. This is it. I found it. All right. So let's see what this